background at your homes. And so it's not to be rude. We're just making sure that everyone can hear. So Mrs. Elliott, double check that you're unmuted. Okay, are you unmuted?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, friends, I say friends, oh my goodness. See, I'm already talking about like I'm in first grade, like kids. We're going to go ahead and get started with our presentation tonight. We're so happy that you're here. We want to be mindful of the time. We've got a 30-minute slot. Some of you have to go on to another presentation right after this. So we want to just get through our presentation. If you have any questions, we'll take those at the end, as many as we have time for, and to the best of our ability. So let me share my screen. Okay. All right, hold on. I've got to get back through my presentation. I went backwards. We're going all the way back to the beginning. Sorry about that.
We did a practice run.
I know. We were just making sure that we had all our ducks in a row. So we do. Okay. All right. So like I said, welcome to first grade. We're very excited for the new year that we're having in person with your students this year, with your kids. They're great. They're just such a blessing to us. We're just really enjoying getting to know them. And so it's been really fun for us too, because we finally got to welcome we had some last year in person, but this year was our first year that both me and Miss Elliott were in the garden house from the main building. So it was really special to us. So so welcome to first grade. And we have a message from Mrs. Elliott's very special cat, Rascal. You'll see him sometimes in our school assemblies. He's very popular at our school, and he has a little message for you.
Well, hello, first grade families. Rascal here. I just wanted to say a quick hello and let you know I have the scoop on first grade. I bet you can guess. Every day I wait at the top of the stairs for my dinner, and I get all the scoop and inside stories about first graders. And what I'm hearing is pretty good news. I'm hearing there's lots of learning in the classroom, and the kids are having a lot of fun. They're learning new rules and procedures, and they are doing great. I have a feeling that this first grade year may be the best year ever. I'm looking forward to hearing more good news. All right, I wanted to say hello and can't wait to hear more about first grade. Meow.
All right, Rascal. He is a rascal. He's cute, but he is a rascal. All right, okay, here we go. Okay, so our first statement here is we are a school that is actively anti-racist focused. It's been a school-wide focus with us since last year. We started really drilling down on that with professional development and reading for all of our grade levels. It's a focus on relationship building with each student and family. We're examining places of bias in our own curriculum and interactions and making changes. So that's what we as a staff are doing actively. Increasing access of representation in our reading material. Last year, we got quite a nice stack of books that we've added to our libraries, and Mr. Leverty is committed every year to giving classrooms quite a healthy budget for adding to our library. So we're very blessed in that regard. And celebrating and honoring each child's personal culture, family structure, language, and ways of being and name. So that is the focus this year. All right, Miss Elliott, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yes. Hi, welcome. I know there's some new faces I haven't seen yet, so it's exciting to see some of you for the first time. And I'm just enjoying first grade so far so much. Just a little bit about myself. I've been teaching in the district now for, I lose track, 15 years. I started off actually at Raleigh Park, but I've been at Montclair now for 14 years, and I've taught kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. I was the reading intervention specialist for a while. So I've just kind of been all over the place, and I'm so excited the last few years to kind of find my home in first grade with Mrs. Myers. We actually did teach kindergarten together for a couple years as well. I'm a huge Oregon State fan. I grew up in Corvallis. I went to Oregon State as well for my undergrad until I moved up here and I went to Pacific for grad school. This is some pictures of my family, and love to travel. I can't wait to do that again when I can. Feel like all I've been doing is canceling trips lately. So I'm looking forward to the future. But at least at the moment, my parents they're now finally retired, which is super exciting. And they do have a little cabin at 10 Mile Lake, which you might hear about a lot. I talk about it all the time. So at least I can kind of venture there and just take a break from the city. And I apologize ahead of time. You're going to hear a lot about my cats. So I admit it already. I'm the crazy cat lady. I'm one of those people that got a new pet over COVID, and I don't regret it. Although when I'm on Zoom, they're both on timeout currently, because otherwise you would see them and I would probably lose access to my computer. So anyway, I look forward to this year. I'm really excited, and I can already tell that we have some great families that we're working with. So I'm very excited.
All right. I don't have quite as many pictures as Mrs. Elliott, but I am from Tennessee. You may hear that in my voice. Graduated from Portland State, though. I've been in Oregon for, goodness, I have to really think about that. I've been in Oregon now for 33 years, so that's a really long time. I've introduced myself, but this is my family. This is me and my husband, David. And we're riding on a roller coaster in Las Vegas, that horrible thing that's on the outside. My husband talked me into doing it. I don't know why. I've got 5 children, 4 girls, and here they are. My youngest is Victoria, and then Emily, and then Ashley, and then Chelsea. The one that just got married was Daniel. This is my only boy right here. And my parents know that I was gone for a wedding, and this is my new daughter-in-law, Marixa. I just love her so much. I've got 4 grandchildren, 1 on the way. So I've got 5 kids and 5 grandkids. Woohoo. And here is our little dog, Dell. This is an old picture. Makes me kind of sad because she's gone now, but and I don't have my 2 cats in here. I'm not a big cat fan. So if you're a cat fan, sorry, Mrs. Elliott. I don't have my cats in here. I should put them in there just for good measure, but I have worked with the district for, this will be my 8th year. Previous, I worked at Intel, so it sounds like it's different, but not so much, especially on the data side. So it helps me a lot with my computer skills as well. Anyway, that's a little about me. All right, what to expect in the first few weeks, Mrs. Elliott? Oh, me. This is me. We are starting small, and what that means is we are focusing. We're not putting strong emphasis on academics. Yes, there's academics, but we're focusing on community building, making it exciting to be at school in person, just kind of easing into that all-day schedule. It's really challenging for all of us to be there all day. Learning the technology in technology class and in class. We're learning how to use various things. Seesaw and Clever are the 2 main things that we use. We're learning routines and procedures, and that's what we're doing constantly, just kind of reviewing, just, the procedures. And it just seems like we're constantly having to add something new to our plate. We're taking attendance this year. We were taking attendance last year, but being in person, it's different. So, yeah. All right. So there's that. Our first grade schedule, you've all seen our first grade schedule. I'll just kind of talk through it real quickly. Arrival time, 8:20 to 8:30. That's when kids are going to grab breakfast if they're grabbing it. 8:30 to 8:45, we have a morning meeting where we all talk together and talk about what the expectations of the day are. We have a literacy block with a brain break in between, which is out on the track. Your children may be coming home today talking, or yesterday talking about Marathon Kids. And on the track, they have a lanyard that they can wear now, and they can scan that lanyard and they get points for every time they go around. So that's great. The literacy block is basically reading, a break, and then writing. Me and Mrs. Elliott have a flip schedule. So because we share an aid, she has reading first when I have writing first, and then we flip it. So I actually have reading after her here. Then we go to recess and lunch. We have our purposeful play, which is our inquiry-based centers that we do every day, and the kids are just loving those. We have specials. So we either have PE or music, and then we have library and tech. We come back for math time. We have snack, which is the most important part of the day, right? And then we have recess, second most important part of the day. And then content. Content there is usually social studies, science, or health. Right now we're doing science and learning about plants. So that will change. It kind of just depends on what we're doing. Later in the year, it'll be about animals. And then we do some other things about the sun and shadows. And then we have dismissal time. So that is our schedule. A quick reminder about that dismissal time. Mr. Leverty wanted me to remind parents that do parent pickup. Our buses are finally on a regular schedule. So if you could please plan to arrive at the school at 3:15, that lets our buses get in and out, and then we can just like cruise through that parent pickup. That'd be awesome. Okay. All right. Mrs. Elliott.
So this year we are building a foundation for writing. Typically in first grade, everyone comes in with different writing skills. So we're right now just focusing on small moments and things that we can write about that we've done over the summer, or just little small moments, a play date with a friend. Eventually, we're going to dive into more informational writing, and this will include some research, animal reports, things like that. The kids always get really engaged, and they'll have an animal to research and some other type of fun activities to go with it. And then later on in the year, we will do some persuasive writing as well. As of right now, we're really taking things slow. So we're just focusing on getting ideas down on paper. And if that's even just a picture and just talking about it, that's kind of where we're at right now. If they are, attempting to write a sentence, great. But right now we're really easing into it really slowly and just getting those foundations down. And then we'll go from there. So one thing we do go over is, check for a capital, check for a period at the end of your sentence. Do you have finger spaces? Those are kind of the things that we're checking over in our work if we are writing sentences. And then eventually we'll be learning more tools such as stretching out sounds, some phonemic awareness, and using tools around the room such as word walls and other things where we can access information and build our independence in writing. So writing, like I said, is just kind of slow and steady at the moment, but you'll notice that once it starts clicking, it just explodes. The thing I've enjoyed so far, and I'm sure Mrs. Meyer has as well, is just the vibrant pictures they're coming up with and the stories that they're sharing with their friends and their groups and us as well. And it's just amazing to see all the ideas coming out, because it's harder to teach what to write if they don't have the ideas. And along the way, we'll kind of fine tune it, if that makes sense. And then for reading, and Mrs. Meyer's next slide, for reading, again, we're just right now building a foundation. We really want students to find a love for reading. And so reading really comes in many ways. Reading could be looking at pictures. Reading could be finding sight words they know. Reading could be looking at illustrations and telling their own story if they can't read the text yet. And so as of right now, we're really encouraging kids to find books that they're interested in, what engages them. And we're not really putting much pressure on, oh, can you read this or not? Because there are so many different ways to read at this point in first grade. So some of the things we're doing are read alouds in the classroom. We're working on our reading stamina a lot and, becoming independent readers. silently reading through our books. What do you do when you're done reading a book? You can read it again. Different reading strategies, but overall, we just want these kids to find joy in reading. And so that's our top priority right now. And further down the road, we will be doing some assessments and we'll be letting you know things and goals that we're working on an individual level. But as of right now, it's just finding that joy in reading and going from there.
All right, math, that's me. We have just finished up with our initial math assessments, trying to find out where, where children are. Like I said, it's just a basic math assessment to see, did they carry over skills from kindergarten? But first grade skills, so we'll kind of boost those kindergarten, end of kindergarten skills first, and then we'll launch into our first grade math. And first grade math is sums to 10, addition and subtraction within 20. So in kindergarten, it's addition and subtraction primarily within 5, and then sometimes within 10. I mean, they kind of hit the within 10 toward the end of the year. And these are all end of the year goals. So addition and subtraction within 20, counting in place value, telling time and counting money, knowing money values, some geometry. So with 2 and 3D shapes, that's primarily what we do. Measurement, addition and subtraction of double-digit numbers. Now that's going to be at the very end of the year. And data and graphs. So we integrate data and graphs all the time just for interest, just so that's something that we kind of use all the time. Science and health. We talked about this a teeny little bit, but science, we do life science. So right now we're doing what's called the Museum of Leafology, and we're learning about plants and we're learning about the parts of the plants. And right now we have some experiments that are in our classroom on the windows. We have some little bean plants that are growing in little baggies. So Mrs. Elliott has a little bit more success with hers than mine. I have some that are sprouting, but I think she gets a little bit more sun than my room does. But so anyway, that's what we're learning right now. Later on in the year, we really focus a lot on animal reporters and animals, different kinds of animals and habitats. And we do a project with animal habitats, and you pick an animal, write a report about that. It's really a lot of fun. Earth science, we talk about a little bit about astronomy and physical science, light energy. So those are some really fun things that we do. Health, we do germs and prevention. We do home and fire safety, emotions, and then Aaron's Law. About middle of the year, we do a child abuse prevention unit, and we'll keep you posted on that and all of the information about that. All right, Mrs. Elliott, routines and procedures.
All right. I know we have about 10 more minutes, so I apologize if you feel like we're speeding really quickly through this. We want to make sure that we have time for some questions, just in case you have any. Although feel free to always email us afterward if you think of a question, and know that we will send this information to you in our next newsletter as well. So I wanted to talk just a minute about our pods and our cohorts. I know sometimes it gets confusing, and I don't know about you, I feel like things change by the minute, by the day, by the hour. It's sometimes kind of hard to keep up. So I kind of wanted just to go over where we're at right now currently. So right now, each grade is divided into a classroom cohort. So my own classroom is a cohort, and Mrs. Meyer's classroom is a cohort. And then within our own classrooms, we're then divided into pods of either 3 or 4 students. The reason behind that is just to kind of know, like these kids are typically always sitting together. They're together in line in the classroom during their time in specials when they go to library or PE or music, and during lunch. So we're just trying to keep everyone who sits in the same group together throughout the day, just to keep our distance. And then we're taking as much precaution in the classroom as possible by always wearing our masks and washing our hands constantly, and then dividing up supplies. So we are taking all those measures just to make sure we're as safe as possible.
And Mrs. Elliott, both of us disinfect our classrooms every night too. So the student desks are getting wiped off by us every night. So, and then, so I mean we're doing everything we can to keep the environments as safe as possible.
Mm-hmm. And then in terms of distancing, we're keeping students 3 feet apart in the classroom and 6 feet apart during lunch and snack time. So whenever they're eating, because obviously they need to take their masks down when they're eating or drinking. Teachers are also required to keep a safe distance. So I know sometimes it's overwhelming, but please, if you don't mind, practice tying shoes at home and zipping up coats at home. That would be really helpful just because we really are trying to not get, in anyone's bubble. So, which is hard to do when a shoe's untied, but yeah, practicing would be really helpful at home. If you have any specific questions about distancing or updates or other procedures, please always feel comfortable to reach out to Mr. Leverty. He's always kind of our go-to, and clearly because he is our principal, he has the most up-to-date current information and all the info. So yeah, any questions, please feel free to reach out. He's a lovely, lovely man and, very supportive, always willing to respond to emails, phone calls, everything else. So yeah. And then, recess zones. So our current recess zones at lunch recess and afternoon recess are divided into 2 areas. What Mrs. Myers and I have done so far is her class is in one zone for lunch recess and I'm in the other, and then we flop zones for our afternoon recess. So kids are able to access everything on the playground in terms of equipment, the play structure throughout the day. The district is going to reevaluate after 6 weeks if they feel it's necessary to split the 2 cohorts apart outside. And so down the road, I do foresee, I do think eventually at some point we'll be able to have all of first grade together on the playground, interacting together, but still continuing that social distance. Kids are active every day and we're using outside for our brain breaks on the track. So you might hear, we do laps around the track. Be mindful of rainy days like today. That was a whoop surprise. It started pouring down rain as soon as we went out to the track. And send a coat with your child and appropriate shoes. I know sometimes we don't know rain's coming. So it's nice just to have a backup coat just in case.
All right, breakfast, lunch, and snacks. Okay, so I'm going to kind of like book it through this. Breakfast is free to all students this year. If your child's eating breakfast, I've said this in my newsletter, but I'll say it kind of again. Job number 1 for students is to eat their breakfast. Morning work is going to be secondary, so it may not get started or completed. Lunch is currently outside. But today we did like an inside outside kind of situation. So as the weather changes, they will change we'll hear more about that and plans for that. Thank you for sending in snacks. Both of us are very appreciative of that. We snack every day outside when the weather permits at 2:00. Children love having choices of snacks each day. So thank you for that. We will send a reminder to parents when our snacks get low through our newsletters. All right, unfinished work and homework, Mrs. Elliott.
So you may see that there's been some unfinished work going home. And like Mrs. Myers just mentioned, some of our morning seat work, if kids are eating breakfast, we don't require them to necessarily finish just because once our school day starts, we dive right into our literacy block. So if you do see unfinished work going home, it's completely optional if you want to do it with your child at home. You do not need to send it in. It's not required to be finished. It is, a way to kind of get a feel for understanding at home. So please, if you feel like you would like to complete it, great. But yeah, again, you don't need to send it in. We expect that students will do some form of reading for 30 minutes per night. But other than that, at this time, we're not going to send any homework home. So those 30 minutes is just so crucial in first grade. Reading could be reading to your child, having them read to you. discuss reading, working on reading.
You can listening to audiobooks too.
Listening to audiobooks. There's tons of things you can do as a family, and just really setting that tone and expectation that reading is fun. I mean, setting a time where you read and your child reads next to you, and that's a routine. And down the road, there could be some homework in terms of projects and art and things that go along with our units, and we'll inform you of that in our newsletters.
Okay, so I sent out a thing.
To interrupt. So we have about 2 minutes. So I'm wondering if maybe we open up for questions, and then any of the tech stuff we could include in our newsletters.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was going to send this out on my newsletter anyway, so it's fine. I will talk about Seesaw and Have, so that's fine. And screencast too. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. All right, there we go. Okay, if anybody has any questions.
We've been talking a lot. Sorry.
I know, sorry.
We do that. We do that in first grade. We like to talk. There's a lot going on.
Well, I would like to ask a question. As these young learners all come in with different interests and strengths, how do you deal with like differences in levels between different subjects?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, one of the things I love about first grade is everyone is at different levels of learning, and they have so many different interests to bring to the table. And in first grade, we really build that community. And, you know, I love that kids can share with each other different interests and different things that they're doing. Down the road, when we have more independent learning opportunities, such as research projects, things like that, we're really going to be able to differentiate our teaching and expectations of individual kids. Right now, like we said, it's just a matter of building a community and a baseline and the routines and procedures, clearly, because some of these kids have never even been into a school before. So we just want to start with, you know, a very solid baseline and kind of build up from there, if that makes sense.
And also, if I may, Mrs. Elliott, sorry, we will have reading groups by ability.
Mm-hmm.
We will also have small group math that will also be ability based. So there'll be opportunities for students, whatever their level, to be challenged at their level. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. Please feel free to email us. I know that we talked a lot and time is just so short right now. And I know many of you have other children and you want to bounce to a different grade level to hear what's going on in their classroom as well. So you're not going to hurt our feelings if you bounce out right now. We probably have maybe like 30 more seconds for a quick question, but like we said, feel free to email if you have anything else that you specifically would like to know about or are wondering about.
Hey, sorry, I have a quick question. Can you give some examples of what those inquiry centers are you mentioned?
Yeah, so the inquiry centers, which is actually my favorite part of the day, it's a new curriculum that we have started in first grade. Kindergarten is also doing it as well. And it's more of an investigative, exploratory type center. So it could be anything from this week, it's creating a game board. And so we'll kind of walk around and the kids will explain, oh, here's my game board. This is the thing. And they explain the parts and what they're going to do with it. And it's building conversation skills among their group and with their teachers. Engineering centers could be building a tower or a make-believe land with plastic animals. And they'll talk about, I heard this last week. Oh, well, I know this animal likes to build dens. Here's my moss, I'm covering it. This is representing their den. And so it's just building vocabulary and exploratory and sharing different ideas. And it's giving them more of a choice and meeting that with academics. And so it's just supposed to be really engaging, but yet purposeful. And we can definitely talk more about that in future newsletters because it is new this year.
Mm-hmm. And we're trying to really make it to where We have right now it's a lot of the materials that we have in our classroom, just letting kids explore things, but it's going to be very targeted as we go. We're brand new to this as well. So just trying to, I mean, it's more centers. So any centers that we create are purposeful anyway. But it'll become a little bit more a little tighter as we go. They're very open-ended, but yet they'll be very specific to what we're learning about. Both of us had centers this week with exploring a sunflower from the sunflower fort with magnifying glasses, and they had to do an observational drawing. So that's just, one of the ideas that we had.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. These are all such good questions. I wish we had
I know.
an extra half an hour for you. Okay. I know many of you do need to go. We have other people coming in too. So I'm going to let everyone who is trying to come in. If you wanted to listen to this a second time, you're more than welcome.
Thank you.
All right, friends. Thank you so much. Thank you to my little friends I see out there. I see Arlie. Hi, Arlie. Mrs. Elliott, don't forget to turn the recording off.
Okay.